So, David, Liverpool obviously played Athletic Club twice on Monday, beating them twice as well. And there were quite a few talking points from the game, but I think the one that everyone wants to talk about and discuss is the emergence of Rio Ngumoha. Because, yes, I know that we knew about his talent beforehand, but at Anfield, he managed to score his first goal. And I know it's a pre-season friendly, but his dribbling ability, his pace, his ball carrying, I think we've got a phenomenal talent on our hands. And I wanted to ask you, even though he's not turned 17 yet, do you think that he might be earmarked as the heir to Salah's throne, so to speak, because he's so talented that maybe he could come in and when Salah moves out of the team, just take over things in the forward line?
Well, I mean, that would be big boots to fill, and you don't want to put too much pressure on him. But the weird thing is, I've been spent all pre-season kind of, you try and be responsible about it as a journalist and play down expectations around teenagers because it's not fair to pile too much on them. And yet, every time I attempt to do that, he goes and does something absolutely outrageous in the next pre-season game. So I think the fact is, and what we're all kind of coming to realise now is that he is just ready to play a role, and there is no need to hold him back. The age is just a number, and the old saying, the old cliche, isn't it, is if you're good enough, you're old enough. And I think you've got to start now classifying him, I think, on the basis of this pre-season as a kind of a Raheem Sterling type, a Michael Owen type, who, like I say, there's just no reason to hold them back because they're ready. So I think Liverpool are leaving a clear path open for him as well. In that, I'd be surprised really if another left winger is sought, despite Luis Diaz leaving. They've got Cody Gakpo there, of course, but I think the next big attacking signing, if everything goes to plan, is going to be Isak. And I think beyond that, you're probably not going to see anything else because Ngumoha, you shouldn't be blocking his path at this point, and he is good enough. He's, you're playing a good Athletic Bilbao side yesterday, and he's showing he's at the level. He's training with these players every day as well, and has been doing for the last 12 months or so. So they're fully aware of how good he is, and I think what's kind of kicked him on a bit is this pre-season. Is the coaches have been a little bit blown away by what he's done. So they clearly think that he's ready, and that they don't want to block his path either. So that pathway is there for him to, kind of walk through the door really, and seize the opportunity that's there for him. And as I say, it feels like you shouldn't be saying that because of his age, and you should be holding him back somewhat. But if it's good enough for Raheem Sterling, it's good enough for Michael Owen as well. And it feels doable that he can do that. So, and I think he is of that level. He very much reminds me of a Raheem Sterling type, but he's just got slightly better ball striking as well. So, just an awful lot to like about him, and a young player who looks ready for first team football.
Absolutely, and I have to say that I just think that we have to see him in the first team next season because he has to show what he's capable of. And I think that I wanted to then ask you about what sort of role do you think you could play next season? Because as I was mentioning there, he has to be in and around the first team. But do you envisage him getting minutes in the Premier League, maybe the last half an hour against tired legs and things like that? Because if I look at other teenagers that have broken through in recent years, the most obvious one would be Lamine Yamal at Barcelona. But I checked, he's played 9,000 minutes before he turned 18. So I think Liverpool will probably be a bit more sensible in Ngumoha's development than Yamal. But what sort of role do you think he'll play?
Yeah, they will have to be wary of that. I mean, it's quite clear already that he's going to have a career that's front loaded for minutes. I just think everyone has to accept that. If you're this good at 16, that's probably how this is going to go, really. And that maybe there's a price to pay a little bit further down the line. I still think, but that said, I still think Liverpool will be careful. But in terms of his role for next season, I did initially think it would be kind of just League Cup minutes, FA Cup minutes, a few starts in those. But as I say, I just think there's a clear pathway opening up for him, in that I don't think Liverpool are going to have 6 frontline attackers this season as they did last season. So, there's every chance that Núñez and Chiesa follow Diaz out the door, and that just one player comes in to replace all 3 of those, and that would be Isak. So if that's the case, it's obvious where the minutes come from. Gakpo can't play every minute, and you can sometimes use Wirtz off the left, I guess, in specific games. But I just think that there's an obvious place for him to play there, and he's got the goal scoring threat, he's got the pace, he looks quite strong for a 16-year-old as well. So he just looks ready to do that. So I think a big role. I'd be amazed if he doesn't make a Premier League debut at the very least. I think he'll pick up. I think there's every chance he picks up more minutes next season than Chiesa did in the last one.